buddy and say, okay, I've been through so many cycles of collective bargaining, and often things tend to get done at the 11th hour.
Listen, he messed this all the way up, and we are almost at the 11th hour, and I'm gonna set a drop dead date soon for y'all to either have this done or we move on.
Ladies and gentlemen, lean forward, raise the sound, and settle in, because today draws a hard line under the deception. Today closes the chapter on the claim that Caitlin Clark supporters were naive, weak, or clueless about WNBA physicality. For a full year, we've witnessed a deliberate, organized, and honestly ruthless campaign of physical and psychological pressure aimed at a 22-year-old rookie. We saw the cheap shots from the blind side. We saw the extra shoves after the play. We saw the hip checks that launched her into the crowd. And every single time it was called out, every time the footage circulated, the mainstream media and the league's old guard dismissed it. They said, "That's just hoops. Welcome to the league." But today the proof finally landed. The receipts are undeniable. We got the ultimate admission. Marina Mabrey, one of the key enforcers of the anti-Caitlin narrative, a player defined by intensity and edge, went on Sue Bird's podcast and confirmed what the WNBA front office tried to suppress. She admitted she crossed the line. She admitted her behavior was wrong. And most importantly, she confirmed everything fans had been saying all along, and most critically, she confessed that her targeting of Caitlin Clark had nothing to do with an actual basketball play, nothing to do with legitimate defense, and everything to do with toxic envy and raw frustration over being outplayed by a rookie who was simply better. This admission needs to be broken down line by line because it exposes the deeper rot behind the WNBA's resentment issue. Marina Mabrey plainly said, "I know when I went too far with things, it's like embarrassing. That was absurd." She was speaking directly about what she labeled the Caitlin situation. You remember the moment. The ball was dead, the whistle had already sounded, the action was finished, and Marina Mabrey hurled herself into Caitlin Clark, delivering a shove strong enough to make a statement to everyone in the building. At the time, officials, in their stunning incompetence, didn't eject her. They didn't issue a suspension. They brushed it off as an ordinary foul. But Marina just revealed the reality. It wasn't basketball. It was a full-blown meltdown.
Be most productive.
See, they asked him, Breanna Stewart, and said, "We love to sit down with Adam. We love for him to be at the table." He said, "Man, I ain't sitting down at the table with y'all."
She went on to admit that the constant cycle of losing and losing again pushed her to a breaking point, but then she said the part everyone usually keeps hidden. She claimed she felt like Caitlin was low-key punking her team. Sit with that psychology for a moment. This is an experienced professional, a grown woman, openly acknowledging that she physically snapped because a rookie from Iowa was punking her. In reality, punking simply means outperforming. It means Caitlin was drilling logo threes. It means she was threading passes Marina couldn't stop. It means she was talking trash and backing it up. And instead of answering with better defense or more buckets, Marina chose physical retaliation. The commentator in the clip nails it when he says, "You're not controlling yourself like an adult. Win some games and don't take it out on Caitlin." He's absolutely right. This confession confirms the old guard wasn't greeting Caitlin with toughness. They were trying to break her because they couldn't beat her. Getting blown out by 25 in Indiana, hearing 17,000 fans boo you while worshipping the player you're targeting, that's what shattered Marina Mabrey. She admitted it felt awful. And instead of self-reflecting and asking why her team kept losing, she searched for a scapegoat. That scapegoat became the ponytailed rookie selling out jerseys. And then there's this so-called crash-out jar they joked about on the podcast. Marina laughed about keeping a literal jar where she puts money every time she loses control on the court, saying it goes to charity. It sounds playful, almost cute, like a quirky moment, but let's be honest about what it really is. It's the commercialization of bad behavior, a public acknowledgement that she knows she's a problem, that she understands she poses a risk to other players, yet she packages it as a quirky personality instead of owning it as a professional collapse. In any normal workplace, a bank, a hospital, a law office, if you shoved a coworker out of frustration and then shrugged it off by saying, "Relax, I dropped $20 into my meltdown jar," you wouldn't be invited onto a podcast. You'd be escorted out, disciplined, maybe even legally restrained. But in Kathy Engelbert's WNBA, that behavior earns you a featured spot alongside a legend like Sue Bird, laughing it up for content. And Sue Bird's response tells you everything about the old guard mindset. Did she pause the conversation and say, "That's unacceptable, you could have seriously hurt someone"? She chuckled. She co-signed it. She normalized it. That's the deeper sickness in the league. The icons are shielding the aggressors because they share the same bitterness. They're part of the same clique that feels endangered by the Caitlin Clark economy, and by framing a blatant cheap shot as just competitive fire, they excuse the behavior. They legitimize it. They send a message to younger players that if a rookie shows up and takes your spotlight, it's fine to lose control, as long as you joke about it afterward.
In terms of the amazing amount of progress we've seen in the women's basketball.
The amazing amount of progress that Caitlin Clark has brought to this league. That's what you're blowing. Adam Silver sees it, man.
Let's dig further into the jealousy angle, because the clip highlights a moment that's both devastating and enraging at the same time. Marina described walking through the tunnel in Indiana, attempting to be cordial, trying to greet people, trying to exist normally. And what did she encounter? Caitlin Clark engulfed by a sea of fans. Security holding back crowds desperate for autographs, photos, even a quick high five, while Marina Mabrey walked straight through unnoticed. No one called her name. No one asked for a signature. She was invisible. That instant, that exact walk through the tunnel, is where everything snapped. It wasn't about stats or the scoreboard. It was about relevance. Marina realized right there that she was a side note in Caitlin Clark's story. She understood that regardless of effort or experience, the spotlight belonged to Caitlin, and that realization curdled into resentment. That resentment became anger. That anger mixed with losing, and eventually it turned into a shove from behind. Marina later admitted she watched the footage and thought, "Wow, that looks really bad." Yes, it looked bad because it was bad. It was envy made physical. It was a seasoned player attempting to snuff out a light that burned too intensely for her comfort. The commentator in the video highlights a brutal reality. Caitlin Clark is the most excessively fouled athlete the league has ever seen, statistically adjusted for minutes played. She's been struck in the head, poked in the eyes, shoved, tripped, and slammed more than any recent player. And for months, the league stood by and allowed it. Nothing was done. Marina Mabrey's admission today provides the confirmation that was missing. The targeting was real. It was never a fan-driven conspiracy. It wasn't delusional newcomers on social media inventing narratives. It was a veteran openly confessing on record that she singled out a specific player because she was furious about losing and furious about being outplayed.
I've been through so many cycles of collective bargaining, and often things tend to get done at the 11th hour. We're getting awfully close to the 11th hour now when it comes to bargaining to set a drop dead date. But I will say, as I look at the calendar and the amount that we need to get done, really over the next 2 months.
Quoted as saying, "I'm not ready to set a drop dead date. What I love to accomplish is putting pressure on everybody." That's NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on.
This should warrant retroactive punishment. This should trigger a formal league review, yet we all know the WNBA won't pursue it. They want this buried. They want the audience to applaud Marina for opening up about her feelings. Courage is standing on the floor, absorbing the punishment Caitlin endured, and still putting up 30 points and 10 assists. Courage is carrying a struggling league while opponents try to undercut you at every opportunity. Marina Mabrey snapped because she couldn't withstand the pressure. She admitted she has to avoid that side of herself, but the harm is already done. The image of WNBA veterans as enforcers and intimidators has been permanently cemented by one of their own. And consider the timing of this admission. Why reveal this during the off-season? Because the storyline has changed. Caitlin Clark won. She captured Rookie of the Year. She earned first-team All-WNBA. She drove the television deal. She won the battle. And now veterans like Marina are scrambling to repair their reputations. They're attempting to rewrite the past, reframing it as, "I was emotional, I'm actually kind." They understand that to remain relevant in the league's future, they must bow to the new reality. They must make peace with the golden goose.
to the WNBA about the latest CBA negotiations. This is a three-parter, folks. A three-parter. Roses are red, violets are blue. We'd love a proposal that values...
Marina Mabrey just delivered the ultimate victory without even understanding what she did. The truth is finally exposed, and it's messy, uncomfortable, and absolutely necessary to hear. The aggressors are now offering apologies, not out of genuine remorse, but because they know they were defeated. Keep your voice strong, keep your head high, and never allow anyone to derail your celebration again. The shift has arrived, the evidence is settled, and the reckoning has been fully paid. Marina Mabrey just delivered the ultimate victory without even understanding what she did. The truth is finally exposed, and it's messy, uncomfortable, and absolutely necessary to hear. The aggressors are now offering apologies, not out of genuine remorse, but because they know they were defeated. Keep your voice strong, keep your head high, and never allow anyone to derail your celebration again. The shift has arrived, the evidence is settled, and the reckoning has been fully paid.